I got tinnitus, which is ringing in the ears, and at that point in my life I decided that I would become an audiologist to help other people who were dealing with tinnitus themselves or with other kind of hearing problems. So I went to the University of Buffalo in New York and spent a couple of years there as a research scientist doing research on mostly with animals, but some human research, doing studies on what was causing tinnitus and different drug therapies and other kinds of therapies to treat tinnitus. After a couple of years at the University of Buffalo, I decided to continue my education and enrolled in the University of Louisville School of Medicine. At that time, it was one of 5 universities in the country offering a doctorate degree program in audiology. So I enrolled and had a very good experience there, and after graduating I met my wife, who was an audiology student at another university at that time. She was from Maine, so one thing led to another and we ended up moving to Maine, and we've been here for about 5 years in practice here at Central Maine Medical Center.
Fortunately for me, as what happens with a lot of audiologists who end up in audiology, majority of us come from speech-language universities, but as part of the curriculum we also had to observe an audiology practice, and they had a great audiologist at UMO, and she's still there, Amy Booth, and she was fabulous. I watched her do testing in the sound booth, and I watched her do fitting and programming with hearing aids on patients, and it's such a scientific method and methodology, and there's a lot of research backing everything that an audiologist does. That really was my niche. David and I really complement each other well as far as what our skill sets are and what we like to do for patient care. I do a high number of pediatrics. A lot of my time is actually spent currently seeing follow-up, preoperative, postoperative for our ENT physicians for children who may have speech delay and otitis media, may need pressure equalization tubes to help ventilate that middle ear to improve their hearing.
As doctors, we understand not only the hearing aids and the technology that exists, but how to best match a person and that person's hearing loss to the technology, and to make sure that when they're wearing and using a hearing aid, they're getting the absolute most that they can out of it. There's a lot of hearing aids out there, but by no means is there a one-size-fits-all. Some hearing aids do one thing better than another, so it's important to make sure that that person gets the right hearing aid for them. The other thing that separates us is the fact that we take a lot of time to assess where the patient is at in terms of difficulties with hearing. Is it simply hearing TV? Is it hearing a spouse or a friend or someone in a quiet environment? Does the person have a more active lifestyle? And so we do a thorough assessment of that person's hearing, but also their needs, to help make sure that they get the hearing aid that they need. We do a lot of assessment of the hearing aid before the person even leaves with it. So a lot of people are under the impression that it's just kind of an off-the-shelf sort of thing. Take it off the shelf, put it on the ear, and you're ready to go. But that's certainly not the case. Every hearing aid needs to be precisely programmed and then also verified to make sure that the level of amplification from the hearing aid is precise and accurate for that person's need. So we'll do a number of assessments to make sure that that person is getting the right amplification for them. We do a lot of follow-up care too. So after a person gets a hearing aid, we'll do a number of follow-up appointments to make sure that they continue to get everything that they should from that hearing aid, not just a month later, but years down the road. If their hearing changes, we can reprogram the hearing aid and make appropriate adjustments.
David doesn't encounter this, where he sees mostly the adult population, but I see pediatrics too, and it really is remarkable, I think, the difference in how those two demographics view hearing aids. Adults, it's a lot of counseling, talking to them about the benefits of the hearing aids, what to expect as they go through a trial period, and basically informing them that hearing aids are an aid for a reason. They're never going to give you back your normal natural hearing ability. A lot of adults too are more resistant to wearing hearing aids because they're fearful of it perhaps making them look like that they have a problem. Hearing aids are usually quite visible on the ear in most cases. In pediatrics, it's completely different. They love hearing aids because they've never had normal hearing ability. They don't have that comparison. You fit them with a hearing aid for the first time, and you can just see it. They are ecstatic. They're happy. They're showing it off. They want fun, vibrant, noticeable colors. Of course, things kind of change when they get to the teenage years, and then you start to see a little hesitancy because it's just not cool. But even that is starting to change because now society is really embracing Bluetooth and ear-worn devices for cell phone use and iPods. It's just, things are really changing.
In fact, a recent research study was done that showed that the younger the patient is, the more likely they are to quickly and easily embrace wearable hearing technology. In fact, the stigma that is commonly associated with wearing hearing aids just simply doesn't exist in younger patients.
First of all, it's never too young or too early to get a baseline hearing test, just to see where you are. Sometimes patients don't even realize they have a problem. It's friends and family that say, hey, you seem to be asking me to repeat myself a lot, or you're misunderstanding me. I've got plenty of funny stories about that, but I won't digress. But insurances typically will cover the majority, if not all, of the hearing evaluation, which basically makes it a free test. There's a lot of hearing aid dispensing offices out there, businesses, if you will, with salespeople that will offer a free hearing test. It's not really a thorough evaluation because they're not audiologists. They basically put headphones on and ask you to push the button or raise your hand when you hear the tone, and that's about where it ends. With us, we do a lot more advanced diagnostic testing, which has truthfully identified major medical conditions that need either surgical correction or just things to keep an eye on over time, but very important for the primary cares to be aware of, and the patients. As far as hearing aids, the testing may or may not show that you would benefit from hearing aids, but there's definitely different remediation tactics that you can do, different lifestyle adjustments, communication strategies, using clear speech. Those are all things that we can educate people on to either start practicing with their loved ones or just by themselves to help with their hearing and their communication abilities. Hearing aids too, they're not the big clunky scary visible things that people are probably the most familiar with. They're not grandma and grandpa's hearing aids anymore. They're very small, they're wireless, they can work with your cell phones, you can stream music through them. They're really sophisticated and they don't have to be the price of a Cadillac. There are very affordable options out there, and our clinic is very unique in this. We actually offer interest-free payment plans over periods of time to help ease the burden, because unfortunately, while most insurances will cover the test, they leave a lot of the adults high and dry when it comes to actually the cost of the amplification device.
And being a part of the hospital, we're able to provide patients more variety of hearing aids, better cost for hearing aids, and overall help make hearing healthcare more accessible and more affordable.